You see, I knew it. I knew it. There we go. There we go. We got some audio now.
Awesome. Is it clear?
Well, no, I just turned it on, so it's gonna take a hot second,
To find
before
out.
we see what's happening.
See if they can hear my crunching my fries. Mm, excellent.
You heard yourself? You did you log on?
No, actually, no. I was just gonna I was
Oh,
so into my food.
you were so into your food.
Yeah, my food that I had not tried to look and see what was coming on. Oh, there I am.
Yeah, we see what's happening.
Oh, it sounds great. Crunching my fries.
Okay, good,
It
good.
actually does.
We are live. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. We are coming to you from Brooklyn, New York.
Yep.
Once again,
From the studio.
we just, we took a lot of time off in December. One, I was battling temporary insanity because Governor Cuomo shut us down. We're still shut down, but we find a way to survive. No income for the first time. First night in my life, but first time since like
A long time.
20, 30 years. Like when I was like doing overnights for Sprint. When I quit that job. So I went through a period where I had 2 months where I didn't have a job.
Mhm.
Well, I was eating hot dogs and big Slurpees
Oh my
in
goodness, that's not
DC.
good.
Yeah. So you know, it's just it was I felt powerless. I felt like, man, how could someone just tell you can't work? Like you can't, I get it. Yeah, outdoor, whatever. The black people we serve don't really do outdoor dining. Okay.
Yeah,
They just
not
don't.
in the winter.
Not in the winter time.
Not in the
In
winter.
the summertime, absolutely. It's fantastic. The sun is shining. Wintertime, no. Um, and of course, in my rage, a lot of people thought that we actually closed down.
Mm.
And so I actually had to do videos to unwind that,
Mhm.
let people know, no, you could still come and order,
Pick up,
carry
delivery.
out. If you want to sit outside, we'll be happy to oblige. And um,
And I think
but
the outside dining we could. I think Well, I'm gonna tell you where it's inspired from. So I was driving down Washington Avenue yesterday during the day, and I would have to say there were a lot of people who did not look like me in their winter coats with scarves wrapped around their neck, all sitting outside.
yeah,
And I thought there are a lot of people who go skiing, right? Or
yeah,
who go mountain climbing and stuff in the wintertime. Those people who have those Montclair jackets and those jackets that are really, really Canada, whatever it's called, that
Yeah.
are really warm. I think you can make it a sexy winter date, right? With outside dining, everybody put on their Uggs and put on their hooded coats and come out and sit in the dining area that's outside. Because I tried it. I went somewhere Sunday night
yeah.
that had outside dining, and I'm telling you, half through the meal, I kept taking my coat off, putting it on, taking it off, putting it on because they had.
How were those heaters? Were they working? Like,
Well, so what's interesting, some restaurants that had already had designated outside areas, I feel like they have an advantage over restaurants like yourself that really weren't doing outside dining. So they already had some kind of ventilation with actual vents that were blowing hot air. But the problem was it's outside inside dining in the back of the restaurant. So every time someone opened the door in the front,
yeah,
you got this cold sweeping draft that came in and kind of blew you away. So it was still kind of cold. But
I think you in a unique case. I don't know what kind of restaurant. What the hell? Inside in the back door. I mean, come on, it's supposed to be outside, not,
right,
not
so
in the back of the
well,
damn
so my
restaurant.
point is, I'm not really saying names. I think some people are doing things that are
Um,
maybe not allowed, but they're getting away with it. But the outside people that I saw, I literally saw people, especially in front of bars, which was interesting.
bars are not even open.
Well, so I saw a bar that was open.
Jesus Christ,
I saw a
what's
bar that was
going on
open,
in New York City?
and the person was sitting in his winter coat. The bartender was at the window, right? She
Okay.
had on a winter hat. She had her mask on and mittens. Looked like she was frozen stiff. and this one guy is sitting there in a chair talking to her, occasionally pulling down his mask to drink. And I said to myself, if we start a campaign for people who look like me, because everybody I saw who was sitting outside did not look like me.
Yeah. No. I mean, you know what? If this was Franklin Avenue, I think I could have probably pulled off something out there where, my neighbors were my friends.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was part of that community.
Yeah, that's part of
so
it
yeah, I could see, my folks coming by and we're doing stuff. But here we're in an island. We're in hostile territory.
Absolutely.
It is definitely not gonna we can't have nobody outside
can't
or
do a bonfire.
Can't have a bartender standing by the door. That's just not it's just not gonna work. But I will say that we have created something special, something pretty nice. You haven't even seen it. I didn't tell you about it.
I know. I'm excited because I haven't been here in a while.
But we're gonna wait a couple more days on that. Let me put the finishing bow ties on it. Okay. But it's gonna be, people are gonna be booking that hour outside for themselves, like to do private events and do small parties. Try to keep it 10, 12 maximum.
I want to be the first one.
We're gonna, listen, you cannot. Well, let me shut up. They almost stopped us. I was gonna say you can stop, but they almost stopped us. So let me not say that.
I think Governor Cuomo and the powers that be are bringing out the hustler in everybody. Whether you're a restaurant owner, a boutique, struggling couple.
And what's crazy is today, I'm listening to his State of the Union, and it's like I'm talking. Everything that I'm saying as to why you need to open up, he's saying it now. So it's basically like I said before. This is a power situation, and I hate when people get on their high horse and act like it's not a power situation. Like it's really about COVID and the disease and why we're being. It is not.
So
it is
the power situation you're speaking
because now Cuomo wants to open everything up. He says, New York, what is New York City without the arts? What is New York City without the restaurants? So now all of a sudden he realizes there's no money in the budget. New York is going broke.
Right.
So now he can't wait till the summertime. So he's starting his movement of you see, what he does is he starts with these conferences. Give it by 2 weeks. We'll be able to go to the movies. He's starting to change public opinion. And this is why I said, like, people are such sheep and they don't even realize it. The same people that want to sit here and spit at my face that I want to be open, that I need to be in 2 weeks, they're just going to accept what Cuomo says. And accept that it's okay now because he said so.
Well, I think the other part too is he's getting really bashed with the fact that, I was tempted to get in my car and drive to New Jersey because New Jersey is open.
Of course.
Or you drive to Long Island.
You know what I did on Saturday?
What did you do?
I took the kids and my homeboy Ty. We drove to Woodbridge to Dave and Buster's.
Oh, was that fun?
Watched the big screen. Watched the games.
Were they social distancing inside?
Please.
Yeah.
It's Dave and Buster's. The kids are running around playing video games.
But aren't you afraid?
Everyone had masks on. I have never been I'm not an afraid. Like I said, if it's gonna get you, it's gonna get you. I'm not going to sit at home and be afraid. I am just never gonna do it. Yeah. And I'm not gonna knock anybody that wants to do that. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. If that's what you want to do it. But don't knock someone else that doesn't want to do it.
Okay, there's a difference between being afraid and just being cautious. Statistics in Los Angeles right now. I'm sorry, I'm trying to chew my calamari and talk at the same time. Statistics in Los Angeles right now, there is one person dying from the coronavirus every 8 minutes. So what a lot of people in New York don't know, San Francisco has been on lockdown consistently since when we were locked down.
And they still dying.
Yeah. and not San Francisco is not dying at the rate of Los Angeles, typically because of who lives there. It all goes back again to,
And this isn't this a liberal state?
black,
Those people should
brown
be wearing
people.
their mask and be social distancing. Why are they still dying?
No, so it not in Los Angeles. Remember, Los Angeles is more black and brown Latina.
Yeah, liberal.
Right. But they don't have they have the same diets and the same health habits probably that we have here because it's majority black and brown people. And they also didn't listen. So I don't know if you know, when we were locked down,
Okay, so
of Brooklyners were going to California.
here's another thing I want to say. Oh, where's the line being drawn here? Because what the people that were dying of diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity are now all getting lumped into COVID. You know that, right?
That's an underlying issue.
But they're being grouped as a COVID death, and that's really skews the numbers.
No, but I thought it was always, and so just for my own clarity, Brooklyn College is offering a course on this whole pandemic situation so you can have a better understanding. It's been offered by some big old doctors and stuff that I'm actually going to register for because I need to have a better understanding, especially with the second strand and me having conversations with people are like going back to the depopulation theory and the fact that, the vaccine is here and I got to figure out whether or not I'm going to take it without being forced, right? So they always said that COVID was a cold or it's a pandemic and the people that it hurts the most are the people who have the underlying issues. That part never changed, right? So if you're looking in areas where people have a higher concentration of underlying issues, the numbers are supposed to be higher, right? Because those are the people who are dying.
I agree, but what I'm saying is that the numbers, everything is being lumped in as a COVID related death or a COVID death.
So
when people
nobody
are dying from, if you take away COVID, possibly those same people would be dying of those same pre-existing conditions.
I think it's probably exacerbated by COVID and the way that it rapidly, supposedly, I mean, I'm not a doctor, right? Attacks the lungs and your respiratory organs. And that's the part. And then it develops like one day you're sick and the next day you have pneumonia. That's my understanding, that it quickly travels through someone's body. And then you have the people who are being misdiagnosed or the people who are going to hospitals and being turned away. I mean, like right now I have a friend who tested positive for COVID. She did a quarantine and she did what I don't see a lot of people doing. So she has COVID. She's not coming out to get her own supplies, coming in contact with other people, but she's allowing people like me to go and pick up whatever it is she needs. She lives in an apartment building, so she's not even taking her elevator or coming out of her apartment. We literally.
How long does she have this COVID? This sounds like a long, ongoing process.
2 weeks. So, but think about it. You get diagnosed with COVID. They tell you you're supposed to quarantine for, originally it was 15 or 14 days. I heard a couple weeks ago he was saying now, they're trying to say now you can come out after 10 days. Makes no sense to me. But she, and even seeing the doctors, are saying they're giving her misdiagnosis. So people are dropping off food. You literally leave it outside her door. When you get back to the elevator, she'll open the door, pick it up, and her elevators, I mean, her hallway is super, super long, right? She picks it up, she goes back inside. While I was delivering food to her one day, a neighbor came out with no mask on, and the neighbor stood in the hall, and he was like, "What's going on?" Because, I was yelling bye to her to give her food. And I said, I said, "You better get back inside without your mask on." And he said, "Oh, I had COVID already. I beat it." And that's the problem.
But yes, that's a problem. But at the same time, it's a reality. It's a reality that a lot of people have COVID fatigue. A lot of people are tired of dealing with COVID. Whether it's gonna stay here forever, it's just like the flu. It's never gonna stop. It's never gonna go away. COVID probably never gonna go away either. People are just like, yo, I'm gonna live my life.
Well, okay, let's put it this way.
Regardless.
So is racism. Racism is probably always gonna be here. It's not gonna go away. But now people are taking different stances. You can't pick and choose what it is, what battle you're willing to fight consistently forever until it's right. For me, it's really hard because as a single female, you know, and I'm just gonna put it out there, it's really hard to figure out how you're gonna date because you have these people who are physically attractive on the outside, and who knows what's growing on the inside of them. People are not wearing masks, or people are wearing masks around people they want to. So recently moved, came in contact with a gentleman who said he had just flown back from Atlanta that day. He was in my building with no mask on to attend a party. And I said, like a small gathering. And I said, why the hell don't you have a mask on? And he said, oh, I was in Atlanta. I was just chilling with my family.
Black people are growing herd immunity.
It doesn't make any sense.
Listen, because look, it's just it is what it is. Like I said, you have people that are going to shelter in place because they are fearful, and they should be because
of the executive mandate.
I said, and they should be because they're people that just have
dying.
COVID fatigue and are no longer are not interested in doing anything unless they're forced to.
Okay.
So you have to protect yourself.
No, let's carry it over. What just happened in Washington? Those group of people, right?
Yes.
Are just exhausted and fatigued with hearing about black, BLM, Latin, whatever. And so they're fatigued, so they stormed the White House. But no. So we're saying that's wrong. They shouldn't do that. They know better. The people who have COVID fatigue, who are now going to these underground parties, whispering in girls' ears and men's ears.
Okay, listen, don't group us all the same. There's a difference. I am not putting myself in a situation of going to some underground party and mixing is very different. No. Let me tell you why. Me going to Dave and Buster's and me going to a party, let me tell you the difference. Like I said, everyone in Dave and Buster's has to have a mask on, unless you're sitting at your table dining. So me and my boy were sitting at our table, and we even had our mask on. When we weren't actually even eating food, he had his on, I had on, because I don't know where he's been. He doesn't know where I've been.
Did you play games?
But my kids were playing games, so they had their mask on the whole time.
Did they wear gloves?
Of course not.
Right. So your kids, and I know your kids, they're beautiful, healthy, beautiful kids.
Let me tell you what they did.
People are sneezing and touching.
And this is what happened, right? When they came back to the table, our beautiful server brought over a whole gallon of sanitizer, and we all
poured it over their
heads. We sanitized our hands, and some of us went to the bathroom. Right. I think everybody eventually actually went to the bathroom, washed their hands, but we all sanitized our hands several times because she left us with the gallon of sanitizer.
But in the tents in which kids are playing,
but my kids are not gonna go there with gloves on. It's just that's what I said. Like
but
they're just
you told them because your kids listen to dad.
Yeah, but I just we ain't doing it like that. And people are gonna judge me and say I'm reckless and all that, but we're just not doing it like that. Well, we're gonna do the sanitizer, but they're gonna have fun. They're gonna shoot. They're gonna play. They're gonna shoot basketball.
You have to think about it. Like I remember when the pandemic first started, I had my glasses on, I had my gloves on. I recently started wearing my gloves again because where I'm parking now, I realized my inside parking is valet service, which means some guy is getting into my car.
He's rich
with his body. Shedding.
So you have visitors, they got a valet, they park their car too?
Oh, well, or they're going to park on the street. And it's paid parking. So that's a whole nother thing, right?
Okay, I ain't even come in your house.
Yeah. And who wants to park on the street? I know, it's terrible. It's terrible. But I thought about it. And
valet park is no bueno. Even washing your car is you got to think about that too, because those guys jump in the car and they breathe all up in your joint. And this is what I do. I'm telling you, that's why I keep sea moss in the fridge. And orange juice. I drink it as much as possible.
Okay.
I drink a lot of water at night. I keep,
I've never had sea moss before, except for back in those Jamaican peanut punch kind of drinks.
Yeah.
I'm ordering sea moss today from St. Lucia from St. Louis.
You ain't got to do
St.
all of
Lucia
that. The
Princess.
one they sell right there on Fulton Street is good enough. You ain't got to see. You live in this high rise parking. Your order is shipped from St. Lucia. You're always doing too much.
I want to support. I want to support.
The
Black
shit right there on
businesses.
Fulton Street that looks raggedy as hell. It works. Just put it in the blender. Go on YouTube. Watch the YouTube video on what they say to do. It works. It works.
I believe it, but St. Lucia Princess, her marketing looks great. She's going out in the boat. They're pulling the sea moss in. It's strong.
Lord, Instagram was made for you. I swear. And TikTok and Snapchat.
I'm new to TikTok. I'm getting there. I got one little post on TikTok.
Lord.
It's all marketing.
But
it's a lifestyle.
It's just, and that's what I said, man. I just don't want. I just ask people not to judge. Let people be. If you see someone doing something irresponsible, sure, speak out. But it's been a year, almost a year. It's been 10 months of dealing with this, and it's tough.
And
it's tough.
It doesn't seem to be getting any better. I mean, I'm talking to people. I love my Snapchat account, right? So
let me say this. I don't know if you could say it's not getting any better. Testing is rampant, right? The lines at these places are like I've never seen before. Yeah. So, of course, and this is the thing about Donald Trump. Some of the shit he says is actually true, but he's still stupid. He's still ignorant. He's still irresponsible, right? But yes, the more you test, the more numbers you're going to see. So I don't know necessarily that the numbers are any crazier than they were in March, because nobody was getting tested. There was nowhere to go to get tested, and everybody was sick. So, it's kind of what I look at are deaths.
Well, we had the highest amount of deaths.
That's in the whole country, right? Back then, we're talking New York City. Look at the numbers of deaths. New York was averaging about 1,000 deaths a day. Right? What is the average now?
I don't remember. I didn't look.
I know it's either, and I don't remember, but it's either double digits or triple digits a day. It's either like 14 or 16. Literally, Cuomo announces every day. It's either it's like 116 or 16. I just can't remember what the number is exactly. But it's not nowhere near the 1,000 people we're losing every day. And in New York City. I don't know what's going on in the rest of the country. Maybe they're still throwing people on ventilators. I have no idea. But
the ICU wards are overflowing in a lot of the other states in terms of no limit of beds. Same thing that happened here in New York. Just the doctor deciding who deserves treatment, who to turn away, which is why we had so many deaths. Those people who they said, okay, we've done enough for you, and especially people who had no family.
And listen, another cause of death that people are not talking about is negligence.
Absolutely.
The fact that, like you said, people in the ICU that weren't getting treated, they weren't getting any medication. Mm-hmm. They're not getting that. Nurses don't want to come next to them.
Because the nurses
exactly. Look, if you look at the prison system right now, what I hear that's going on in there is absolutely criminal.
Absolutely.
COVID is rampant in there. They're not getting any medical attention, and they're barely getting any food, water, or any resources. Right. And unfortunately, no one knows and no one cares.
Well, I wouldn't say no one, but I think
not enough. We're not doing enough to petition for these people. I know these people, I know there's some really bad people in there, but they're always throughout time. I was reading this I do a lot of Yoruba readings of like ancient stuff, and there's stories that go back to antiquity talking about how people that are in jail, not everyone in jail is guilty.
Oh, of course, we know that.
So my point is, there are people in jail right now that have no business being in jail, are wrongfully charged or serving sentences that are way too long, that don't fit the crime, and are being subjected to inhumanity.
Yeah, this is very true. Speaking about people who are incarcerated, Last year, I had a client who was in Rikers, and along with members of his family, we wrote letters to get him out of Rikers early because there was a little hum in the news about how many people were testing positive for COVID, how many prisoners were getting sick, prisoners who were dying in Rikers or dying quickly after their release. Luckily, he got out early, but I have some people I know who are incarcerated now, and they talk about how they're limited with PPE in terms of getting the mask and wearing the mask. Um, that the people who are getting sick are just being put in one section of the jail and kind of left. They're making tents amongst themselves to kind of isolate. But you have to ask yourself, when you think about it, if you're in prison, I don't think they do housekeeping in prison. Like no one comes in and sanitizes your. I'm assuming your cell. I would guess they clean it themselves.
Man, I don't know. Fortunately and unfortunately, I don't know anyone personally. I've never been to a prison. I've
I've
never
visited people
visited
in
anyone
Rikers.
in
Scary as
prison.
hell.
Um, and I don't really want to. I hope we keep it that way. Because it's just wrong. I mean, there's so many things wrong with the whole system in itself. Like I said, it's not about bad people being. It's more so about the people that don't deserve to be in there that are
Mhm.
there. Bad people, they deserve what they get. As far as I'm concerned. But my heart goes
Absolutely.
out. I have family friends that are serving life sentences that and
Yeah.
they didn't do the crime, and you're just like, oh my god, you can't even describe the anguish and the grief that person and the family is going through, just living day to day. Like, you know my homegirl was telling me, the guy gets to come out every other day for 1 hour,
Oh yeah. Oh, they
every
got him
other
in a
day,
special
and then
unit.
has to stay in a cell with another human being the size of a bathroom. Like,
I think that's why
that's
there's so much
crazy.
what is it? Promiscuity in prison because you're
Let's.
forced
I don't even want to. I don't even
to
want to
be
talk.
that
I
close to
don't even
people.
want to. Come on, man. I don't even. Come on. What the fuck? Come on. Where are we? What the hell is that all about? Come on. I don't want to talk. I don't want to touch that with an 80-foot pole.
No, I'm just saying. I think
Promiscuity in prison. What we talk about people serving life. Say you talk about
well
promiscuity.
because that's why you have those violent crimes that happen in prison. I mean, you're describing it. You're locked in a room for X amount of time. There's no sunlight. There's no other touch of human whatever. I think I saw in a movie you can't have conjugal visits unless you're married, and who wants to marry somebody in prison?
There are a lot of women that love men in prison.
Well, I know. A couple years
There are
ago,
tons, thousands,
I know
millions
there's actually a
that
dating
have
service.
thing
Listen,
they have that love men in prison.
but listen,
So
listen. We're talking about two different things.
yes, we
There's
are. That's why I don't know why you even brought it up.
no, because I'm saying there's actually a dating service based in Washington D.C. that was pairing up. I don't know if they're still in existence now, but they were pairing up professional women of color with nonviolent offenders who were getting out of jail, um, dating, because we're women of color. We're always complaining there are not enough good men or not enough available heterosexual men on the planet. Like the ratio, I think even in New York, there are more men than there are to women. And so this dating service
What?
started, huh?
There's more men to women. No,
Yeah.
there's more women, period,
Well,
than
I mean,
men.
more women to men. So, like, let's say if it was
Like,
12
slow
to
down
1.
now.
Yeah, more
There are
women
more women
to
than
men.
there are more women than men.
Right.
Yes.
So, this dating service started looking at parolees that were getting out of federal prisons and stuff in DC and matching them up with available professional women of color mostly, to introduce them when they get out. And these men supposedly are heterosexual. And so you're saying if you're outside and you can't meet anyone, here comes this person. And usually when these men get out of jail, they are fit. They're all nice and strong. And I remember looking at
Unlike us.
yeah, unlike y'all.
Us old farts.
No, but in it, they're all different age groups. I mean, I think that's no different than being on Christian Mingle and all those other dating sites. I don't know how people date online. I've never done it. I just think people are crazy. It's never the person that you think they are.
That is true. You want to hear about my story about online dating?
Yes.
I did. My brother, God bless his soul. This was while I was in DC. He was into online dating. This is when AOL. We all had AOL accounts, and he had met someone all the way in Mississippi.
Oh God, a good old country girl.
Mississippi, and they would talking, and he went down there to go visit her, and they actually hit it off.
They hit it off.
Yeah, they hit it off to the point that he was down there for like weeks, and then he told me to come down
to meet the person.
Yes, but before I went down, she had a roommate. So, through AOL,
Messenger,
phone date, exactly. For about a week, I'm hey, how are you?
Oh my! Which one of your brothers was this?
Emmanuel.
Oh God, you guys kind of.
Emmanuel get me in all kind of. I mean, that man had no fear. He gave me all kind of trouble. He gave me all, and so I went down there. I flew down, jet air. I mean, them little $39 air Spirit, yeah. They look like they're gonna fall out the sky, and went down there. Oh my God, the first time in Mississippi, and it was my first time in. What do they call those things?
In the South?
No, them homes.
Oh,
a trailer. Yes. Oh my God.
Wait, you went all the way?
Yes, I went all the way to. So we driving down this dirty road, and it's like we pull over. I'm like, okay, what we doing? They're like, we're here. I'm like, where?
A trailer camp.
Like, you see that thing right there?
Was it at least?
No, it was on its own. It was like a standalone.
Oh gosh, that sounds like a problem.
Oh my God. I was like, what? It's like, and I swear to you, you walk into this thing and it's a home.
Yeah,
it is a house. It's a smaller house.
Alabama. I've seen them.
It's a smaller house. I mean, she even had a jacuzzi in there.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's pretty good.
She had a jacuzzi. So that was my okay. So to end the story, the girl ended up she was crazy, of course, and drove my brother out at gunpoint. So that's drove us out of Mississippi at gunpoint.
Oh my goodness.
They had an argument, and that's how they settle it. She brought the gun out. My brother called me. I said, "My man, get on the next flight." I did not. I will not lose you in Mississippi. I am not coming to get nobody in this. Get out of there as fast as possible.
Mississippi. My grandmother is from Mississippi. I remember as a kid, I learned how to spell Mississippi by saying this childhood thing: M-I, cricket letter, I, cricket letter, I, humpback, I. Oh my God, I haven't thought.
And they country, man. They but I tell you that they're happy. That's the biggest thing. Like they don't. It's totally different from city life, but they're happy. They
Some of them are happy.
It's all they know. You know what I mean? It's like it's all you know. So that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like they work, they go out and get these cars. Like that's the thing. That's the thing down there. They love cars. They love like leasing cars, like trading in cars every couple of years. 19%. No, I'm telling you, they love their car. Like they're into cars.
Well, you could also call that short-term goals, right? If you're living in a trailer home and you can't afford a house, you don't want a house. But yeah, one of my uncles, he's married. They've been married for 100 years. and they have 5 or 6 cars.
Yeah,
No
I'm
kidding.
telling you,
Yeah.
yo, the South is about car. Like they love their cars. They into that. But no, it's But I wanted to spend a little bit time about domestic abuse. You know,
By what?
domestic abuse.
Okay.
See, I have a friend that he he always would say, "Oh, Bub, you know, you have the perfect family. You and Max are so great. Everything is wonderful. I'm here by myself. I'm here by myself. I'm doing it all by my own. And I wish I had somebody."
I would have to
Listen,
echo that.
listen. Even me and Max had a fight yesterday. Okay,
Really?
this is what we did. There's no couple on earth that doesn't have
Yeah,
arguments.
but that's the difference. There's arguments, there's fights,
Fight,
and then there's
argument. Now,
battles.
and this is what I say.
Mm.
Let me finish what I'm saying. When I say we had a fight, we have our ideas fight each other.
Uh-huh.
See, let
That's
your
the difference.
ideas fight. Let your words fight.
Mm.
Let your understanding fight, but not your body, not
Right.
your
That's the
physical.
difference. That's the difference.
Do
With domestic
not
abuse.
engage in physical confrontations with your spouse.
But you have to understand that there are a lot of people who are subjected to domestic abuse that does not have a physical aspect, because verbal abuse can be equally as damaging to
But
a person as well.
but that's a great point you make, and you see what happens is the verbal abuse leads to physical abuse. See, you have to have a certain amount of respect and have boundaries.
Hmm.
Like I've never told my wife, "Hey, fuck you,"
Right.
or "fuck you, bitch," or
Yeah.
called her. I have never, ever, and never will.
Right. Right.
Knock on wood. And
Right.
you see, but if you engage, if you use those kind of words with someone,
Hmm. It
that's
will
what
escalate.
leads to the rage.
I agree, but I will also say that it depends on who you're talking about, because there are people there are people who you can say things to them, and they're negative, they're strong, they're abusive. You never have to lay a hand on them. There are women who are trapped in, and there may be men too, but there are women who are trapped in relationships, and the husband never has to lay a hand on them, because every day they're reminding that person or telling that person they're nothing without them. They can't go out, or if they go out, they're going to do blah blah blah. That is also a form of domestic abuse, or
That's
and
slavery.
that that is a form of verbal domestic abuse.
It
And
is.
if you can cripple a person's mind, the body will follow.
It is. No, I'm not in disagreement with
What is
you.
that noise?
We should never have that much control over another human, especially your spouse. I look at these relationships as your equal partner. Doesn't mean you're the same. It just means that you have the same level of respect for yourself as you would your mate. I think that's one of the things that make her your mate in the first place. The fact
Right.
that you respected her, you admired her. So why would you ever deny her the dignity and the respect that she deserves by calling her such things? Because if you calling her such things, what does that say about you and your taste?
Well, people don't. It's like that old adage. They say don't point at people, because when you're pointing at someone, 3 of those fingers are pointing back at you. That's something I heard when I was like a
Yeah.
kid. I just think that I have to be honest. Um, I have had to learn how to control myself. Like when I get anxious or excited or angry, I don't really have to touch a person, because I'm gifted with the gift of gab, as they say. Like
So
I can literally cut your head off and sever you into pieces with my mouth, and One of my friends, Meeks, is constantly reminding me of how vicious my mouth can be at times because I don't pay attention to it. I don't notice it. And for me as an Aries, as long as I can get out what I'm feeling or thinking, then I breathe and I'm fine. But you have to remember the recipient. A lot of people can't just live and let go like that. And that's the part that's very
I
hard.
mean, if it's your spouse, hopefully you know their character and you know their boundaries. Like you know they're not the type to hit someone, or you know they're not the type to get physical, or you know. But in a beginning race, you don't really know that person, so
Yeah.
you say the wrong thing, and this person flip out on you, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, it's a violent situation. You know, but we do need to every individual needs to really think about domestic violence in their home with their mate, and just make sure um, you respect yourself, you respect your mate, and most importantly, your children. You know, it's horrible to demonize a spouse to your child,
And in
especially if
front
they
in
didn't
front of the
deserve
kids.
it. Especially if they don't deserve it. And you know, and people think, oh, you know, the next day they'll get over it and it's gonna be all good. But no, it's not. These things stick with you, and they're painful, and a lot of times they manifest up back into another situation.
Well,
So it's very
yeah.
important, you know, as they say, once an egg is broken, you can never pick it back up. So we have to be very careful with the words we say, because once you say it, you can't catch it on its way out.
Right.
You can't catch it once it's gone. It's gone, it's gone. It's said, and it's gonna do that damage,
And
inflict
I
that
think
pain.
a perfect example of that is everything that we're living right now. I mean, all the things that Trump has said throughout the existence of his presidency, with paying close attention to everything he said starting this time last year going forward, is exactly why I think it erupted into what we saw on the Capitol. I mean, when you foreshadow that type of behavior for so long, eventually it's going to happen. Um, and with him losing access to all of his social media platforms, and the other thing, people saying that they're incredibly afraid that he might try to do something drastic, like start a nuclear war. While he has access to it. For the first time, I heard these media personalities saying that he's mentally ill. And so, when have you heard somebody refer to the president as being mentally ill? And maybe these last couple of days, we need to make sure he doesn't take any drastic moves. Um, it's really kind of scary when you think about it.
Um, I just got to finish a text message real quick. But what I was gonna say is just, especially in this time in COVID, where people are domesticated and are staying hours and days with that person,
Yeah,
this domestic abuse and fighting, and it's a greater chance for it to happen because you're with
yeah.
this person all the time, and sometimes you just
There's
get
no break.
tired and you get frustrated. So like I said, I don't want to dwell on it forever, but you know, I come into a contact with so many people and I share their stories. I'm blessed enough for people to confide in me. So I would never put their business, their name out there. We could talk about the situation to help others, but I'm not gonna, um, so I appreciate that. And at the same time, I just want to, ring that bell to everyone else that listen, these things are still happening in society, and try to insulate yourself from them.
Mhm.
Um, but so far, I like our life, it's very we're all over the place. there's
Well,
no there's
it's like
no
it's dinner table talk.
yeah.
One conversation leads to another. It's not planned, um, which makes it spontaneous.
And we're making up for missed time. We're making
Absolutely.
up for missed time. And I see some new, we got some new people, some comments. I love that. We love the input. We love to know people are watching, people are listening. It just gets us very excited. Uh, take time out of our day to do this. So many people say different things that motivate you. I get on and I have people that have worked for me that just say some amazing things that, times when I think, they're just angry and they don't want to listen and they're just being difficult,
Right.
but they actually are, and they acknowledge it. They may not acknowledge it in that time, but they acknowledge the impact that you have on their lives and how it's caused change for the good for them. And so that's why I continue to do this. I just think, I've been blessed with so many unique experiences
Mhm.
that we should talk about it. That's why it's journeys from Lagos to Brooklyn.
To Brooklyn.
There's
Absolutely.
no situation or question you can ask that I don't have an answer for. I haven't dealt with in some form or fashion. So
I agree.
as we move forward, I look forward to your questions, to your, more input. So we could go, even, if you want to join us live in studio, let me post up the link here, you know.
While you're doing that, I want to just speak to the comment by Miss Jackson, Patty Jackson, that was left on the Facebook page, where she said, "Yes, they are, but there are many women who will sell themselves to support these men." And so, Patty, one of the things that I'm going to say is that we have to try and look at each situation individually. Sometimes those women are battered women, whether it is a woman who's being beat in her head or kicked, whatever, every day into submission to these men. Sometimes on the outside, it's easier to see when that man is undeserving if you're not that woman who has 5, 10, 15 years invested, 2, 3 kids. Because I know I've seen a lot of women who have children with men and they put up with what they're putting up with until those children are 18 and they at least get through school. So when we say overwhelmingly, there's a lot of women who will sell themselves, you have to ask yourself why they're doing that. And even in
I mean, prostitution is the world's oldest profession. So,
right, right, and I don't know that she means prostitution. I don't know that she means it literally, but
but I mean, literally, that's what it is. I mean, you may not get, someone may not say, okay, it's $120 to sleep with you, but there are people out here that sleep with you to you get some food,
yeah, but I think
go
that's
out on a
it.
date,
But so you just said two different things. So a woman who's sleeping with someone to get food or to keep a roof over her head, is that prostitution or is that survival? Would you
It's
rather?
the same thing.
No,
It's
it's
just like
not.
me working.
No, it's not.
I work for survival, right?
No,
I have to
it's
look,
not
okay,
the same
okay,
thing.
let me make my point, right? I have to work to
Right,
make a living
right,
in order to survive.
right.
If that job happens to be me
Being a
prostituting
gigolo.
myself,
Hmm.
that's still a job
Yeah, but
because that's
the
the way
reason.
I'm bringing in income
Yeah, but
to
you're
help
saying
feed myself.
there are two different people who do that. There's the person who gets up in the morning and says, I am a beautiful person, and I know that John Doe will pay me $1,000 for sex, and I just want to do that. Maybe I like sex,
Yes,
maybe I like the transmission of money. Okay, that's a form of prostitution. He's doing it. Then there's the woman who or person, because men can be doing the same thing. Men do the same thing as well,
absolutely.
right? There's the person who has tried to get a job, can't get a job. There's can't qualify for unemployment, can't qualify for this program, but then realizes, hey, I could either go to a shelter or I could go apply for public assistance, or here's this person that I know I could be intimate with them and it'll give me a roof over my head. Is that person? I don't see that really as prostituting. That person is trying to survive. Are
But
they?
look,
Are they
it's
taking?
look. I look at lowest common denominator, right?
Yeah,
Just like I tell my bartenders, look, when
I
you
get it.
pour a free drink to
Right.
your homeboy
Yep.
and you don't collect money,
Yep.
it's stealing.
But that is stealing. Point blank.
But no, but I'm
You
just
don't
saying
you don't own
they
it.
don't think of it as
They,
stealing,
they have
right?
to.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
They just
they
think
have.
like, no, I'm just gonna pour this. It's just a shot. I'm just giving them.
No.
But
You know why they
but
don't think it's stealing? Because they're
I-
getting a tip, and that person who's taking the free drink doesn't think of it as stealing because they're now tipping and they paid something.
you're making a point for me, and this is the point I'm saying. You see, perception is reality, and that's why I said at the bottom line is money is being taken away, or money is being taken away from me that I should get.
Right. That is stealing.
So they literally that $10 that I should have, they decided no, they're gonna take it out the register and keep it in their pocket,
Yeah.
or keep it in their customer's pocket
There's
because
no
that's how they feel.
right, but that's
So
stealing.
same thing as prostitution. If you go, there's some people that go out there and call themselves a prostitute, and there's some people that do prostitute things
They call themselves
and get the same kind of benefits. But either way,
I think there's some
it is what it
people
is.
Who, Malcolm X said once, by any means necessary.
Yes,
right.
But a lot of people living like that with those streets, and a lot of men would be doing it too. If listen, a lot of men are doing it.
Yeah.
Let me not even say a lot of men are doing it without having to call themselves prostitutes. That's what I'm trying to say.
Why they're not calling themselves prostitutes? And not you, but because people like you, men, when men do it, don't call them prostitutes.
No, society.
They call them a man, or they call them a gigolo, or whatever.
Society.
I want to cough on air in the middle of a pandemic.
Listen,
but the bub rub is getting in my throat.
Listen, it's these rules for society.
They're hypocritical.
It's society, just like the undue pressure that it puts on women to look a certain way, to dress a certain way, and think that appeal is what attracts men, and it's exactly it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. But
we got a reply back response from Patty. I don't have my reading glasses on, Patty, but I'm gonna try to read it.
You got COVID or something, man. What's going on with you?
It's the peppers.
Thank God you're 20 feet away from me.
It's the bub rub. It's the bub rub. Okay. Yes, each is different, but when you are single and have no ties to them, it makes you wonder what is home like. Oh, let me read this again so I don't make Patty sound like she don't have good sense.
Okay.
Yes, each case is different. I want to cough. But when you're single and you have no ties to them, it makes you wonder what is home like for them. I've tried getting some of these females off the street and helping them. I am far from judgmental, and I know DV plays a big part. I had friends who have runs in prostitution, have been in prostitution rings. So it's very difficult to help someone if they're A, not ready to receive help, or B, as I cough again.
Don't worry, I'm gonna take over for you so you can get that COVID cough out your throat.
I need water. I don't have any more water.
No, but look, let's go back to education and having vocational skills, right? This track starts at a young age when you're failing out of school. You're not doing what you need to do. You can't get a job now, or the jobs available to you are not paying what you would like them to pay. When you now see your peers making X amount and you're not making this amount, then you start going, this is one of the factors that cause people to go into that lifestyle. These young women, they want to go to Dubai. They want to have the Gucci bags, and they don't have any life skill that's going to warrant anyone paying them to be able to earn that kind of income. So they use their God-given assets.
Yeah. I'm a little bit better now. I got up and got some water. I still feel like I want
So it goes back to parenting, and that's why I said like it all is, to me, it's all about foundation, building blocks, family. I'm big on men getting married, being there, enjoying their families, creating their families, setting their kids up for productive future, making sure their kids are in line. There are too many kids roaming the streets doing the wrong things.
Yeah.
That the parents have failed those kids. So many parents, people that I know, have failed their children.
But it's
And
not just the parents, it's also the community, because
well,
the communities
it
don't.
starts from the parent. Once when the parents fails, then there's no community
Right.
there to pick up. You know,
No, that's true. But
there's
some
no
of those,
community to pick up. But the first line of defense is the parent.
yeah, but some of those parents didn't have good parenting themselves. And
That's not an excuse, though.
it's not, but it makes it more.
It makes it harder,
It,
but it's
no,
not an
I was going to
excuse.
say it makes it more believable that those parents would fail, because where is their example coming from? And one of the things that scares me a lot about the coronavirus, when you think about it in a worldly kind of manner, to me, when they said that, the people who are in jeopardy are those people who are 65 and above.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of families, regardless to your race or your religious practice, we all have one thing in common, that generally we respect our elders and we receive wisdom and guidance from those elders in our community. And so if this virus is sweeping across the world and it's taking out all of our elders,
People of color,
well, people of color,
disproportionately.
yes, people of color, but there are also people dying in other races. And for me, I'm just saying, if you remove all this old school wisdom, and in some instances, the old school wisdom is that Confederate, wisdom that tells you to separate as well. But for me, I'm just saying, all these grandmothers and grandfathers and great grandparents and great uncles and great aunts that are being, taken from the planet, it's really kind of scary, especially when I look at my own age and I say, okay, this year it's attacking people 65 to 75. If it's
But
man made, what if they
look,
tweak it and next year they're after everybody who's 45 and up?
another point that you were bringing up that's so important, like you said about the elders. Look,
Mhm.
our grandmothers, our grandfathers, our grandparents, these are like the last. This is like the last frontier for honor,
Yeah.
respect, culture, wisdom in the community. That generation goes, we lose all of that. How many friends project out to be that grandma that everyone is coming to their house? People don't want to be around anybody no more. Everyone's secretive. Everyone is on their own. Everyone is by themselves. We are a different group of people. Our generation is literally worthless when it comes to the institution of family and community. We have no sense of community whatsoever. And listen, I'm guilty of it, because when my parents were our age, their kids played with their friends' kids,
Yeah.
and I don't see it. Maybe I have the wrong
I,
friends, but our kids are not socializing enough
I,
with each other.
well, I think, that this topic is really kind of emotional for me, because January 9th would have been my grandmother's 99th birthday
Wow.
2 days ago. And she passed now, it's 2 years ago. She passed at 97. And so my best friend who passed last year at 45 from cancer, I found out after she died that her and my grandmother have the same birthday. So
Wow.
Mikhail passed in September, my grandmother passed in November. Both of their birthdays was this past weekend. And so, I keep thinking about, when I look outside and you talk about kids don't play with kids. I don't have kids, but I have a friend. Her name is Meeks, and I love going to her family functions because she has her mother. She has lots of she has one brother, but she has lots of cousins and aunts,
Mm-hmm.
and family that family rejoices together,
Yes.
right? But when I look outside, I remember a couple of years ago, and I should be embarrassed to say this, but I was in East New York, and this is probably like 2014. And I remember I was walking to my car and I saw all these young kids running toward me. And I immediately became frightened because I'm like, where are they running? And I'm getting about to get into my
Yeah.
convertible. And as they got to me, I looked so shook. And one of the kids like stopped next to me. He's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "What are you all doing?" And she was like, "Oh, we're playing tag. Can I hide behind your car?" I had not seen kids playing in the street, and I was like, "You guys are playing tag?" And she was like, "Yeah, you hit somebody and
And they
then
run,
they
yeah.
gotta chase you." And I said, "I thought you guys were like coming to carjack me or something." And and now even more so, I don't see kids playing with kids unless they're on these computer games.
It's exactly, unless it's online, unless it's Roblox or online, and even with that, we don't do enough. My kids should be playing Roblox with my buddies' kids online, but I don't know, man. Like society really, when you really look at it, it's depressing. It sucks, and it's not getting better because there we have no leadership. We have no one um, telling us that we're heading the wrong way. There's no corrective behavior. There's no one saying, "Hey, listen, what we're doing, we're going to end up this way," and no one sees it. People don't go to each other's houses. Like you think about that, especially now.
Yeah.
Going to your house, that's taboo. So this whole age of privacy and loneliness and isolation, it is not good. It's not human. It is not human.
I want to piggyback. We have another comment from Brandon. Hi, Brandon. So, I think what you're saying, Brandon, is absolutely correct. Brandon wrote a comment where he's basically saying the virus should be teaching us about how important health is. It's more than just about a person's age. It's also about adversely affected obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, and smoking. And so, Brandon, Bub and I have been talking about this for almost a year. During the pandemic, we held a weekly Zoom where members of, you know, the health department, in terms of nurses and doctors, we had scientists, we had lawyers, we had small business entrepreneurs, regular individuals, and each week we talked about the pandemic through the entire lockdown. And one of the things that we did say and admit to is, if nothing else, this pandemic has pointed out to people how important it is, like you said, to be healthy, healthy on the inside, as well as looking healthy on the outside. And last November, I traveled to Nigeria, and I've been keeping in contact with, a lot of individuals in Africa, and we're discussing why it seems that the virus is not ravaging through Africa the way it is through the United States. And some of the things that we talked about are easy. In Africa, a lot of the people of color don't have the underlying issues we have because they're not eating the processed foods. They don't have the wide variety of McDonald's, Burger King, Checkers. They're not buying excessive amounts of Chinese food. Not to say that these things are bad, but I'm just saying they're eating less processed foods, which in turn are not crippling their bodies the way we are here. I mean, everybody knows America has a high case of obesity, right? And if I had $1 for every cheeseburger or order of fries that I've eaten in a lifetime, I'm pretty sure I'd be a millionaire right about now. So yeah, it has taught us to be healthier. One of the key things that they say during the pandemic is to increase your immune system. And Bub has been a great proponent of saying, drink your sea moss. So now I'm gonna find this local sea moss while I'm waiting for my St. Lucia
Not just sea
sea
moss. You got to get some zinc. You
moss.
got to get oregano. You got to get garlic. These things do tremendous work. Obviously, vitamin C. While you see cars, am I parking? What's going on?
They're trying to tow somebody's car, and the person's behind you.
Oh, you okay? All right. Well, no, keep it going. Let me just go talk to the tow truck. Make sure my car is not getting towed.
No, it's not you. It's one behind you, but he can't really get to it. So people, I'm gonna come back and we're gonna continue just kind of talking about what we're saying. The importance of health is really good. Like for me, I've always been thin, and about a year ago, I started having issues with having high blood pressure, which was a direct result of me just being stressed out. And unlike a lot of people, if you have high blood pressure, the first thing they do is they tell you you need to lose weight so your blood pressure can go down. But as you can see, I'm just about like this, so I have no weight to actually lose, right? So I think what I started trying to do is they say that there's a difference between good stress and bad stress. And you have to be able to differentiate which one those are. So I started looking at the situations that I'm in, the people that I'm around. I think it's good to have a healthy competition with others, but if you're in a situation where you feel like um, the people around you or the people that you admire are not supportive, and I'm not just talking about finances, right? Because in this economy, we all have struggles, but you want people that support your mental wellness, that talk to you, that pat you on the back, that also are not afraid to tell you when you're doing wrong. One of the things that I learned during the pandemic is that out of the essential businesses like restaurants, we found that liquor stores were doing incredibly well. And one of the reasons why liquor stores were made essential is because think about it. We're all locked down on the pandemic. You're stuck in your house. There are people out there who have drinking problems. And if the liquor store was not open to kind of provide a soothing mechanism for some of these people, domestic violence would have been even more worse than what it already is. I think at one point during the lockdown, they said reported domestic violence occurrences were up in New York City 1,000%. And so you have to think about that and say that's really kind of scary, right? So in a household where you have two people who live, let's say a family, maybe that partnership, that husband, that wife, that boyfriend, that girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, right? Whatever the situation is, those people usually have a healthy separation when one person goes to work, other one stays home, or one person goes to school. Some kids who are home in abusive homes, their escape or their safety net used to be going to school. And so if those kids are not allowed to go to school, those parents are not allowed to go to work or wherever it is that they used to go so they could get some free time, all these people are stuck inside their house together. And if you live in New York City, a vast majority of these apartments are like a closet. They're this small. So where do you hide? Where do you find escape? I remember in my last kind of relationship, where my boyfriend would be over, if he was in the bathroom too long, I would go and knock on the door and be like, "Are you okay? What are you doing in there?" So I can only imagine if you had these relationships where they're a little bit dysfunctional. Now everybody's locked in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for months at a time. There is no escape. And let's face it, some of you all have side joints that you used to talk to. And during the pandemic, when you're locked down, you couldn't go see your office boy, office wife, or your shorty that lives around the corner. So that added to your stress. I mean, I'm laughing, but it's so true. I think Bub is outside trying to make sure that everything is going on with his car. I just want to jump on and see if anybody else is leaving any comments. So at this point, I just want to thank you all for being with us. I think Bub has worked out everything with his car is coming back. We're just talking about domestic violence and why some of those instances might have been a little spiked. I too have to go soon because I am finishing the installation of my television. My new
I don't even want to ask how big the TV is.
I didn't. So my mother told me not to the TV yet. So I'm waiting until the Super Bowl. But I did kind of pimp out my current TV, my current TV set. And I took a video of it. I'm very proud of what I've done so far.
Well, you're gonna upload it on your page so our people could see it.
Oh, I can put it in
Yeah,
live.
put it on the
I
page.
sure can.
But yes, before we go, a couple of quick things. They're gonna impeach Trump tomorrow for the second time.
Oh, they're actually gonna do it.
Yeah, they're gonna do it. Also, if you're a small business owner, PPP round 2.
Starting now.
It's I know a lot of people love talking about reparations and getting free money and all. This is the closest thing you're gonna get to that. Quite in fact, it is the reason why I continue owning a business, because if you had a payroll system, if you did things halfway right, 1/5 of the way right, you can benefit from the PPP program. Minorities and first-time drawers are able to apply right now.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow, people who've had it before get to reapply. Please do not delay. There are a ton of people, ton of organizations. If you need help, you have questions, direct message me, email me. I'll try to put you into the right people.
$285 billion in it.
To help you get it. I plan on getting mines. So look forward to seeing some amazing things from Amarachi in the next few weeks.
To get them excited, you can ask for up to 2.5 times what you normally pay your employees, up to $10 million.
Lucky for me, I had some very, very expensive employees.
That is great. I actually I bank with Chase. My banker is pretty good, but today I actually got an email from Chase that put down the guidelines. And actually, if you're still let's say you're a cash making business and you don't have a business account, you can still go in and open up a business account with your institution of choice and apply directly through them. But yeah, so hit up Bub or myself for
Donatella, for a small fee, will help you put your package together. Yeah. If you do not know how to do it, if you're you don't know, I've been doing paperwork like this since I was a little kid, so I love it. In fact, I just put in my application for renewing my liquor license. So I do paperwork, but I don't do it. I don't do it for anybody. I can help you. I'm not yet for it. I will eventually. But I can certainly help you if you have questions, you need help, point you in the right directions, tell you what I've done that's worked. I'm here for it. But this is what we do. We try to help folks and try to put you in the best position. I remember when I was, like I said, liquor license, that was like the biggest thing. Oh my God, it cost $100,000. So many myths and so many things to terrorize people.
Right.
It's not, listen, if you have half a brain, you can do it. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. If you're not a convicted felon and XYZZZZs, you can get it. You just have to go through the process as long as your state is still granting them. But back to the PPP, please get on this. And there are other programs, especially for people in the arts. This New York State just announced a bunch of initiatives. Stay on top of these things. Listen, use Google to your advantage. Just you have an idea, Google it. You'll see you'll see answers pop up. Where can I find XYZ? Google it, use it. Try and get yourself some of this free money that they're dishing out, and put yourself in a position to be successful. As so many people I know in the past few years are pivoting to owning their own businesses and setting themselves up the right way. This is part of it. If you did do that, you get rewarded with the PPP. If you haven't, start now, because I do believe there will be a third round
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Biden will enact. So let's get this cheese.
Yeah, and please, a small business owner said to me yesterday, Sunday, I was speaking to someone in the culinary field, and I asked him, did you apply for an SBA loan? Did you put in your PPP? Did you receive any funds from the EIDL? And he said to me, I make a pretty good living. My business is going well. I feel like those programs are for people who really need them. And I didn't want to do it.
Okay, real quick, let's just explain what this is. So the PPP requires you to use the money you get, at least 60% of it, to payroll.
Right.
If you fail to do so, it will be a 1% loan. So even if you don't use the money for payroll, it's a 1% loan. Where can you go today and get a 1% loan?
Absolutely.
Nowhere.
Absolutely.
So there you go.
And on that note, right?
We will see y'all. Today is what, Tuesday?
Tuesday.
We'll see y'all at a normal time Thursday, God willing.
And unless something crazy happens with the impeachment tomorrow, we might just jump on tomorrow.
Yes, please be safe. Refrain from posting anything crazy on social media. Don't let these Trumpsters come get you, come after you. It's not worth it. They're going crazy. They're getting shut down in every corner, and it's like a snake with their head cut off. They're just looking for anything to just chomp onto and release all the venom into. So be careful, stay safe, and God bless.